Hey Karishma, hi.
Swapnil, how are you
How are
doing?
you?
Long time. I'm
Very
good. How are
long
you?
time.
Yeah,
Good to
yeah.
connect back.
I know. How are things with you?
Things are fine. Things are new. Not habituated to stay this way. I mean that stands true for all. But how are things with you? Uh,
All well, yeah. All well. Getting used to the new normal.
so what's the new normal? What is that one thing that probably you would have discovered about yourself? What's the new normal for you?
So the discovered there are plenty of things. I discovered that I had a lot of limitations for my own self in my own head. That I
Oh, okay.
can't do this, I don't want to do this, and life is so easy
Sure,
that you didn't really get to exercise so many options.
sure.
But because of the dearth in understanding and not being able to live your normal life, there
Mm-hmm.
are so many things I realize I can do on my own, and I'm not dependent on people, and the whole spectrum of doing things on your own has kind of changed.
Sure. I think if you are telling this statement after what 16, 17 years into specific
17
uh,
years, yes.
yeah, 17 plus years leading yourself in a certain way, I think each one of us will have that differentiated feel of how do we carry ourselves from now on. It's more of a reset button that everyone has hit.
It's a complete reboot, reset, recreate, reinvent. Everything is because
Yeah.
we just can't go back to doing what we did at anytime soon.
Sure, sure.
And
So
exist for now to be able to exist and bringing your best is the most important thing.
yeah, that's the most challenging thing, which
Yeah,
which
it
which
is.
could potentially be the best thing. Yeah. So, Karishma, so first of all, thank you for your time. Just to give you a brief, this is just a self initiative that I decided to record some of the episodes with the people who are part of my LinkedIn list and whom I believe are the influencers on me. Who would have left some or the other impression, but extremely important impression. So this is just a free flowing time to just be casual and help us learn from your experiences as well.
I'll
uh,
play along.
yeah, that's a good story to start with. So look, I think we've met briefly, but one impression that I took from you, and I'm sure people would have given you a lot of feedbacks in your professional journey. I think
Right.
one of the quality that hit me about you was you being extremely patient, right? I haven't seen an individual or a professional who is so patient after achieving the amount of success slash experience that you have had in your life, right? The way you listened to things, the way you articulated it back, the way you were trying to keep yourself in the other person's shoes or the other person's mind. I think I'm not too sure if I'm able to articulate that well enough, but I think that entire know-how for those brief hours that left a lot of impact, and I'm trying to absorb some of it in my own self as well. So I think some of the people or some of the professionals whom I know have had either a broad career or a depth in any particular profile, right? So either it's horizontal or it's vertical. I think you're the only one in my influencer list who is kind of, you know, who has spread both horizontally and vertically. So, if you had to describe your past, decade and a half, how would you put across yourself?
So first of all, thank you for all the lovely words. I'm humbled. And it's strange you say that you found me patient, and I think that's a skill that I have developed with the profession that I have been in. And for people like us who are trainers, who are coaches, who are developers, human development, employee development in some form or the other, you cannot develop anybody, especially a human being who is the most complex machinery, in my opinion, if you do not
Sure.
because empathy is by far the most important skill
I
that
can't
one
forget
has
that
to learn.
word. Yeah.
Yeah, So one has to be very empathetic with the experiences people come in life with, the kind of knowledge they come with, and hence you develop. So in the last decade, if there's something that I have learned, is that I have to be a work in progress all throughout.
Sure.
Like I constantly have to be the one who develops myself. I don't know if I don't do that, how am I really going to encourage and enhance other people's development?
Sure.
As an industry, it's taught me a lot. It's opened my mind to a different, completely a different ballgame, because it's much easier for someone like me to think from someone else's perspective,
Yeah.
and that's a life skill that is very difficult to achieve. And once you achieve, it stays with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and who better than you to explain that? But that's a very humble brief. Just to be pretty explicit, how was it? How was it representing India at an international level, and the journey towards towards making yourself an entrepreneur, or trying to dive into the entrepreneurship? What has so I mean, what I'm inquisitive to know is, how is your journey connected from where you started to where you are now, right? So how is
Right. So
how's
let me
that
give you a
reward?
quick. I'll tell you how it all bridged out.
Sure.
So I was working with the SQL Training Solution, which is the company which I developed in 2007.
Sure.
However, I did never started off as an entrepreneur. That was never on my list.
Sure.
All I wanted to be was somebody who flew. I was a cabin crew. So that was my
Sure.
first job in Jet Airways. And that's what I thought was my dream job. But then
Wow.
after I did it, I realized it's not my dream job.
Sure.
Because
Like many of us too.
it
Yeah.
was, yet, you sometimes have a different notion and image about something that you want to do. But when you actually start doing it, you realize that's not what you want to do. So
Sure.
I kind of felt less stimulated mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt I was very monotonous and robotic in my job. And that kind of just give me 1 minute. Huh? I
Sure.
can still see the notification, so I'm just trying to see the DM.
No, sure. Your video is perfect, so that's okay. Just
It's fine, right?
yeah.
Okay. So it's coming on my screen.
Sure, sure. That's okay.
Red Airways happened for a 1.5 year, and that's when I was lost again. That because I was BCom, I did not do my MBA, I didn't do anything much. The next option after somebody who flies for a domestic airline is to fly in an international airline.
International. Yes.
But for me, flying as a journey was done. I didn't want to do that anymore because I felt that at 3 a.m. I'm doing the same thing, and at 3 p.m. I'm doing the same thing. So I kind of lost interest in the whole thing. So that's when I think I kind of hit a rock bottom uh, for a while, because I really didn't know where I wanted to do, what I wanted to do. So I asked Jet Airways to put me somewhere, like put me into admin, put me into IT, put me into HR, whatever. But
Sure.
I had to be absorbed into the ground, and not the ground staff, let me clarify, but somewhere in the office, Jet Airways.
Sure.
So I was the face of Jet for a while. So they said, since you've been the face of Jet, why don't you speak to our new induction teams that come in,
Sure.
the new batches that come in. That was absolutely by fluke. So I used to talk to the new batches that used to come in, and help them understand the SOPs and the manuals, the
Mm-hmm.
guidelines, and kind of warm them up into the Jet Airways family.
Sure.
So that's when I realized that my flow of talking to people is something I'm most comfortable in, and
Yep.
maybe that's the area I should look at. So training was completely by accident. And then I started applying in airlines as a trainer. So I worked as an aviation trainer for some time. And then I moved into other skills, into soft skills, and then that led to behavioral skills. So I worked with Virgin Atlantic, with British Airways as a trainer. Then I moved on to the BPOs, because the BPOs was the boom at that time.
Yeah.
And that's where I became a soft skills and a voice and accent trainer. And WNS was my first organization that I worked with as a trainer. And working with them for almost 2.5 years, I think we do about 400 batches a year, and
Wow.
over 300 hours of training a month. So I kind of worked really hard then and learned a lot. Then moved to another organization as a manager training, and then started my own training company in 2007. Because I was married by then, I was ready to have a baby by then. So I kind of realized that maybe I should now start doing something on my own. I didn't know if I want to go back to being an employee.
Wow.
So I started as a freelancer and I said, let me try my luck because I had certain goodwill in the market. People knew me for my work that I was doing. I had some contacts. I said,
Sure.
let me build on those contacts and network and my skills and see where I land. In case if I do not land well, I'll go back to doing a job. But let me give it a shot.
Wow.
So that's how freelancing happened. And fortunately, it was, I will say it was a stroke of luck as well that I had too much business coming in. And I realized that it's not possible for me to cater to them all of it on my own. So Get Skilled particularly came in overnight. Then I said, I got to start a
Oh,
company and I'm start hiring trainers. So I started hiring trainers, I started training them, and then I started deploying them in different locations. So that's how my entrepreneurial journey began. 1 year was okay, then 1 year was better than that. The other year was again a little low. So, being an entrepreneur, one has to be ready for certain amount of highs and lows that you will go through.
sure, sure,
It's never going to be wow, and it's never going to be low until you put in a lot of hard work.
sure.
So I was aware of the fact that I must also do something else along with training. So I've always been somebody who multitasks a lot. I get, I get bored of anything that I do for too long. So I have to keep the variety on in my life in terms of learning.
Sure.
Then I became a part of ISABS, which was Indian Institute of Applied Behavioral Sciences. I became a human coach with them. I worked with a lot of humans and behavioral studies that I started doing. I started developing and learning a lot more on psychometric analysis, on psychosomatic behaviors and stuff like that. So
Wow.
I kept studying a lot
Wow.
because I realized this is where my interest lies. So may as well hone myself in this. And overall, my training deliverables were changing. My facilitation was changing. The way I was training was becoming different from a soft skills trainer. And then I became a hardcore behavioral expert.
Wow. It's a journey of
Yes.
continuous reinvention, if I have to put that way.
Absolutely. And the one thing that really helped me was the fact that I was never content.
Yeah.
There's this whole need of wanting more, doing more, learning more. That the thirst is so never ending that I never needed a boss to send me for a training. I never, once you're an employee, you get
Yeah.
nominated for
Yeah.
trainings and that's where you go. But if you're an entrepreneur, you don't get that choice.
Yeah.
You really have to figure out your own training analysis and you've got to realize where you are, where you want to be, make your own mission, make your own vision. And that's what you will be working on.
Sure. So if I were to sum this up, two words that hit me is every obstacle that you had, that got converted into opportunity,
Yeah.
either through an internal force or an external force. In your case, more through an internal force. But I'm sure you would have moments in the past decade or decade or two where this process of hitting a roadblock, reinventing yourself would have created something called doubt, which is the most common thing that all of us face, or even the most successful person becomes uncomfortable when he has to pick a 0 or 1, right? So how did that work out for you? Were you in a position of a 0.5 ever?
Strange you say that. I'm actually running a program or a webinar on self doubt or
Oh,
dealing with self doubt
yeah,
on the
okay.
12th. So,
Wow.
so the reason why I'm running it is because I've been through it. And I don't think there is anybody who's not been through it.
Sure.
My favorite remedy for self doubt is to sleep it off.
Is to sleep it off. Okay.
Sleep it off. Because if you're going to try and find solution to that self doubt, then that time when you're going through it, you are only putting yourself under a lot of pressure. So I just let the feeling go. I let it pass. And I completely accept and embrace that right now I am not feeling as confident as I always do. And
Sure.
it's okay because it's okay. You have to be human and one has to be gentle on themselves.
Yeah.
So I try to be kind to my own soul and don't badger it and don't batter it and don't tell myself that you've got to perform now. Like, it's like almost shouting at yourself if you do that.
Yeah, but exactly, a lot of employees at workplace who would kind of listen to us would be going sorry Sorry for that. Yeah, a lot of employees at a at any workplace would be going through the same emotions, right? Especially during this period, where a lot of dynamics have changed with the way how you approach a 7 to 9 job or a 8 to 7 job, and the dynamics with the team members, dynamics with their own bosses, with the cross teams on how they apply themselves. So how does so again connecting the dots. So how does this expectation expectation from from a boss or a colleague as to how do you apply yourself against that expectation? Right? How does this river flow in your opinion? Now that everything is going on a
This will
reset.
change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, again, I'm asking this question because the fundamental of all this is the word doubt, right? And how do you apply yourself to it?
Okay. So if I have to particularly answer your question in terms of an organizational behavior or
Sure.
organizational development standpoint, mainly it's very important to engage in meaningful communication with your horizontal level as well as the vertical level.
Sure.
Understanding what is the expectation really from people above
Mm-hmm.
is more important before fear seeps in. And the reason why I say this because it's ambiguity
Yeah.
in anything is kind of going to develop more fear and more uncertainty
Sure.
in anybody. So communication is really, really going to be the key.
Sure.
One, you will people above will have to communicate clearly their thoughts in pointers with the people below them. Peers amongst themselves have to be very careful of not spreading, unnecessary information which is not true.
Sure.
One will have to be careful of not unnecessarily increasing fear in anybody else's mind because everyone right now is so shaky with how things are going to work. The best that we can do right now is instill confidence in each other and take each day as it comes, understand expectations, also see if you need to reskill or upskill and cross skill yourself.
Sure.
So your skills may have worked in the past, maybe you need to now upskill yourself.
Sure.
So that acknowledgement and awareness of where you are in terms of skill development is also very important.
Sure.
And you will have to kind of draw that and match the column with what my skills are, what the expectations are, you
Sure.
know. And if you do this as a very logical and a practical exercise,
Hmm. Hmm.
one will have less space to indulge in unnecessary emotions.
Sure.
Like
Yeah, well said. So in this journey of an organizational development slash individual growth, I am sure people would make mistakes. People would learn from those mistakes. Reflecting back on your own self, how have you embraced that word mistake? I'm sure you've had tons of them, if not less, right? Every professional does, but if you have an example to share, or in case if you don't have an example to share, I mean, what would be your reflection on that word mistake?
mistakes are a part of life, and
Sure.
it all sounds good in theory, but actually happens, it kind of hits you hard.
Sure.
So, yes, mistakes have happened. I cannot remember in particular one example that I can cite right now,
Sure.
but I can tell you that it's happened every now and then.
Wow.
Professionally, personally, it's happened all the time. And like I said, my biggest golden mantra of life is being mindful about
Yeah.
everything. One has to be mindful. Now, there could be a mistake in what you're eating too, right? Mistakes
Yeah.
can start from your eating habits
Yeah.
to your how sedentary your lifestyle is. That is a mistake.
Sure.
How less active you are is a mistake. How badly your posture is while you're sitting is a mistake
Sure.
that you're doing. And all these mistakes really build up to become habits. And
Well said. Yeah.
so my mantra of life is being very mindful.
Sure.
Mindful of what goes inside, what comes outside. So what words I'm using, to who I'm talking, when I'm talking. So also my impact on people and the
Yeah.
impact of the mistake that I make on other people's life.
Yeah.
So if the mistake is only impacting me, it's easy to deal with it.
Sure.
But if my impact of that mistake of my mistake is going to impact anybody else's life,
Sure.
then I may want to think twice before repeating it again.
Yeah, a good
So
reflection.
it's like once a mistake is fine, but doing that again and again is a decision.
Yeah, it's a decision. Yeah, well said. Well, I mean, that's, yeah, decision is the apt word. So, Karishma, we have about, I mean, I have about 8 to 10 quiz questions coming up. It's, it's more fun. But you get a chance to ask me anything in
Let's
case
go.
you want to. Else, we can, jump on the quiz questions.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
Though
Sure.
I think I missed answering your question on the international journey that you asked me.
That is right.
Right. So I'm just going to give you a quick answer on that, so that your viewers get to see what you were asking about.
Sure.
Uh, so along my entrepreneurial journey, I also had this dream of being a part of the pageant industry since I think I was 16 or 18 years old. So then I realized it never happened. So eventually I thought, chalo Miss India ne Miss Singh, but let's try.
Sure. Sure.
So Miss India, I participated out of
Good, but
pure
you need
sheer.
great confidence to do that. At least to dream that. Forget to do that. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
So I was kind of okay to win, lose anything. For me, it was, chalo, let's experience it. It was not a maker or a breaker for me. I
Sure.
knew that my plan A is not going to get shaken up. So I was not looking for a career after that. I didn't want to be an actress or a model or whatever. I was okay. I was
Sure.
doing it purely for my experience. So that confidence helped. But
Sure.
chalo, let's give it our best. So it so happened that I won Mrs. India in 2017. And then I represented India internationally in 2018.
Wow.
So I was part of 52 countries. And if you ask me one word on how I remember the international journey, just it was just about how I was called India throughout.
Whoa.
I was not called by my name at all. And every time they had to look for me, where's India? And so that is
Some
something
pride feeling, right?
is beautiful.
Yeah.
And to represent India and being called India.
Yeah.
So that was it for me. For me, I had won.
Yeah.
I did.
Respect and pride in one feeling. Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Good on you.
So yeah, I didn't win that. I came in the top 15, but I had a blast.
Yeah, it's okay. Your dream was fulfilled. That was important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very happy. Still am.
Cool.
Okay, let's go to those questions.
Cool. Let's go to the quiz then. Right. So, these are some fun questions. Karishma. This segment is called "Who Am I?" The first one is I am the ability to perform an action with determined results within a given amount of time, energy, or both. This is all related to your background, right?
Okay. Hmm.
Let me repeat that again. Who am I? I am the ability to perform an action with determined results within a given amount of time and energy.
Absolutely correct about me.
No, no, no. Okay. So let me put it in the correct way. So you have to guess what is this definition about. So say for example, I mean, I don't get an example at the top of my head, but this is a definition about one adjective. This is a definition about one word. Glad it's correct
Okay.
about you. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that again. One more
Right.
time, maybe.
Okay. So I'll give you an example, right, and then we jump on the other question. So I am a component of competence to do a certain kind of work at a certain level. Now the answer to this is aptitude. That's how it
Oh my
goes.
God, I want to talk about vocabulary skills. Okay, let's go.
Wow. Okay. Let's change it. Right. Let's. It's important that you're pretty comfortable on this. So, some full forms, will that do? Some silly but important full forms of the words that that you hear day in and
Let's
day
start with
out.
those.
Sure. Done. So, what is the full form of newspaper?
Full form of newspaper. Such a big word.
Acha, full form
Uh,
of news.
full form of news to be. Can I make up something?
Just go ahead. It's just fun. I mean, I'll tell you the right answer at the end, but there's nothing to win or lose. It's just a
Okay, chalo,
detoxing
let me
part.
try.
Yeah.
News would be non-toxic, engaging,
No.
weekly.
Right. I'll give you
Hi.
the. I'll I'll give you the full form of news, and then you can try for paper. Right. News is north, east, west, south. That's the.
Political.
No, it is north, east, west, south. NEWS. That is actually the full form of news. That's how the
I
word
didn't know
news.
that.
Yeah.
absolute news to me.
Yeah. And the full form of paper is past and present events report. That's how the word
Awesome.
paper came into existence. Right, as I said, so this is going to be
Yes.
fun plus a learning one for you then. This I believe you should be,
Chalo, then
you
what
might
did
be
you
aware.
let's go.
Yeah. The next is the full form for team.
Together, everyone achieves more.
Amazing. This I had expected that you, so a simpler one. Right.
This is the easy one.
Full form of aim.
Um, no, I haven't heard this one.
Ambition in mind. That's actually how aim word come into, came into existence.
Interesting.
Yes. Full form of buy. This wala buy.
BY. BYE.
Yeah.
With your audio or something like that.
Be with you every time.
Be with you every time. Achha, okay.
उसमें से W को निकाल दिया.
Got you.
Yeah. Full form of joke.
No clue at all.
Joy. Okay, so this was a learning for me. This even I didn't even, I had to Google this. Joy of kids entertainment.
Okay, that's nice. Interesting one, huh?
Yeah. Cool. So let's try the first one then. The first, definition part. Yeah. I
Okay,
am
let's go.
I am the ability to perform an action with determined results within a given amount of time and energy.
Competence?
Yes, you are slightly closer. In my opinion, it was skill, but yeah, skill and competence can go hand in hand. Good, you got that. Good. I have one more. I am a component of competence to a certain kind of work at certain level. I am a component of competence to do a certain kind of work at certain level. This is the last one.
Time bound?
No, it's aptitude. This is the same example I
Aptitude.
gave you.
My listening
Good,
skills.
Karishma. Wonderful talking to you, but pleasure as always. And thank you for accepting to be on the episode of Quarantine Toasters.
Pleasure's all mine.
And I'm sure people will, learn a lot. So did I. So thank you very much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Thank you
evening.
for
Take care.
having me. You
Cheers.
too.